Hello students, this is your teacher Manish, and in continuation with our Java playlist, in this video I am going to cover a very important topic, that is constructors. Okay, so by word itself, what does it mean? Which means it must be constructing something. So what does constructor construct? So constructor constructs, you can say, object. Okay, so let us take an example, right? And these examples we have seen in our coding as well. So if I have an object of type, so my cat1 is an object and type of that object is, say for example, cat class. So this is a class. Then this particular statement, actually what does it do? It declares a variable, and that variable name is cat1. There is next statement which we have seen, and that is cat1 equals to new cat. New keyword actually goes and allocates a memory for this particular object. And what does this? This is nothing but it is called as a constructor. If you notice, constructor is a special method. This is nothing but it's a method, and this method has got name which is same as that of a class. Now if this method or this constructor is not declared in class, then compiler puts a default constructor. So compiler actually puts a default constructor. Okay, and what does this constructor do? This constructor actually initializes all the instance variables. Now this particular statement creates cat1. And what does it mean really? So if this is where the memory gets allocated, if this is the memory that got allocated by particularly new as a keyword, then this is what happens. Your cat1 variable starts referencing to this particular memory location. So just keep this in mind. Okay, we will be now taking a deep dive into actually coding, and at the end of this video, what all things we will learn. One, we will see what does a default constructor do, right? So this is one thing we will see. After that, we will go and create a user defined, or we will go and declare a constructor of our own within the code. Okay, and third thing which we are going to learn is also, can we have multiple constructors within our class? Okay, so these are the three things which we will see. We'll see if there is no constructor defined in the class, then the default constructor get used, and what does the default constructor really do. Second, we will go and create our own constructor. So I have said specifically a user defined or a user declared constructor, and then we'll see, can we go and create multiple constructors. Okay, so with this, let us start coding now within Notepad++ and experience these three things. So for want of time, I am going to use the same class which we have developed in our previous video, and the name of that class is cat. I have saved this class within cat.java file, which is a source file. And just to explain what this class is, if you see, this class has got one invoking method which is our main method, and then we have another instance method which is a display info method, and we have three instance variables which is breed, color and age. And I'm actually creating two objects, cat1 and cat2, and this is where actually I am calling the constructor. Now in this class we just have one instance method and one main method. So a default constructor is added by the Java compiler. So if we have to see what really a default constructor does, then I can do actually one thing. I can actually before actually allocating or assigning values to my instance variables, I can just invoke the display method, okay, the display info method, just to see what happens, okay, and cat2, okay, dot display info method, okay. Now what would really happen? What do you think would really happen? Okay, so let us quickly save this program, okay, and compile it, because after this I'm actually allocating the values to the instance variables, okay. So before allocation, let us see if I can really do system.out.println, and what would cat constructor really do. And constructor, we have seen, is a special method which has got same name as that of class, and if that method is not available within the class, then the compiler puts it as a default, right? So I'm just saving this class, okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to compile this, which is cat.java. I think it's a capital C, okay. So I'm compiling it, okay, and it got compiled successfully. So I'm quickly executing, which is java cat, okay. My class name is small cat, because you could see here this is the class name, okay. And now if I execute it, let us see what happens, okay. And if you see, this is what got printed before actually allocating the value. So all the three variables, all the three instance variables of my two objects, so total 6 variables. First is for cat1 and second is for cat2. All of them got initialized by the constructor, by the default constructor that gets called, okay, that gets called. Now string gets initialized to null, and since we have two string, breed and color, I have got actually two null here, and last one is the integer, because age is the integer, okay. So the output of two display infos is nothing but the initialized instance variables, which are as a result, which are shown here as a result of the constructor, okay. So let us now quickly do some more changes. So now what I intend to do is I intend to actually create a constructor, okay. So instead of the default, I will create a constructor of my own, okay. And what I intend to do is I'm just passing, okay, passing the values as parameters, okay. So for first cat it is, okay, Persian, white, okay, and the next is age, okay. So this is what I am passing, and for the next cat I am having it as Siamese, okay, comma, I have black, right, and then comma, and I have age again as 3, okay. And now I am removing this 3, okay, and after this I am defining a constructor, okay. Now constructor will not have void before it, okay. So constructor, I am defining it here, right. Now what does it have? It will have 3 parameters. So first one is string, and I am naming the parameter as pbreed, okay. Second parameter I have again is string, okay, and then I am naming it as p color, and third parameter I am having it as integer, and I am naming it as ph. Okay, here is the begin, and what I am doing actually is I am assigning my basically values of whatever get passed as parameters, okay, to my instance variables. Okay, so second would be color, okay, which is equal to, okay, p color, right, and third is age is equal to, okay, p capital AGE. Okay, so this is, after that I will have my end. Okay, now what happens here is, see, actually now I have defined a constructor of my own. Please note the constructor has got same name as that of the class. Okay, now since I am passing three variables here, okay, I am passing three variables, I am passing values directly, so Persian gets allocated, okay, or assigned to pre-breed, white gets assigned to p color, and 3 gets assigned to ph when I create cat1. Similarly, when I create cat2, okay, my cat constructor is called again with 3 parameters. Okay, and then what happens is, actually this particular constructor which I have defined in this code would get called, and it is doing nothing but whatever parameters or whatever values are passed into these 3 parameters are getting assigned to the instance variables, and your instance variables are 3 here, breed, color and age. Okay, so instead of having a default constructor and that constructor actually initializing my instance variables, I can actually initialize directly my instance variables with the values that I want. Okay, and this is how I can make use of constructors. I can define the constructors and initialize the values that I want when the object gets created. Okay, so I'm saving this constructor, I'm saving this class, sorry, and then what I'm doing is I'm just compiling it, okay, to see what happens. Okay, the name of the program is cat.java. Okay, and here it got compiled successfully. Okay, and then I'm just going to execute it, and it should display nothing but the values of 2 objects. Okay, and there it goes. Okay, so this is what I got displayed. Okay, so if you really see, in my previous version of program I actually had assigned values to the instance variables with the help of the object. In this case I have directly initialized using a constructor which I have defined on my own. Okay, so next thing, let us quickly go and add one more constructor, because I did mention that we can have multiple constructors within a class. Okay, so I'm just modifying the same program. Okay, and what I'm doing is I'm putting an additional constructor. Okay, and in this constructor I'm just saying that it doesn't have any parameters. Okay, and here what I'm doing is I'm just kind of copying these 3 statements. Okay, we'll study what it actually does, putting here. Okay, and then saying breed equals to Persian. Okay, color equals to white. So instead of parameters, now in my next whatever I'm again moving values. Okay, and this is 3, right, and I'm just putting an end here. Okay, now what I want to do is I want to create cat1 by calling the constructor which is having a blank, and I am calling creating cat2 with a constructor which passes 3 variables. Okay, so again it is very simple. Okay, I have constructors which is with the same name as that of the class, and there are 2 constructors defined here. So you note the word again, I am actually overloading. So if my constructor is a method, then I have overloaded this method. Okay, the overloading of method is nothing but having more than one method declared, more than one method declared with same name. Okay, and how do this method distinguish within each other? Okay, or what is the differentiation? The differentiation is the signature. Again, note this word. What is signature here? Signature over here is in the first method, when it gets called, it doesn't have any parameters, or it calls with 0 parameters. There are no parameters, it just has got a blank. Okay, whereas in second method it calls with 3 parameters. So number of parameters and sequence of parameters distinguishes this method, separates this method. Okay, and hence in the first time when I call cat with no parameters, it will immediately pick up this method or this constructor, okay, and construct cat1 with these values, or this Persian white and 3 gets initialized in the instance variable. Whereas in second case, it will immediately come to know that I am calling constructor with 3 parameters. So within the program it will go and see, within the class it will go and see which are the where is the constructor with 3 parameters, and if there is a constructor with 3 parameters, then it's going to assign those, or it's going to execute, initialize the values of instance variables with that constructor. Okay, so what I intend to do quickly is I will just save this program first and then compile it and see what happens. Okay, and let us java c cat.java. Okay, and let us quickly execute this program. Okay, java cat, and look here, now I got the same output, but the difference is in this particular version of program I have 2 constructors. Okay, so in this short video, what we have seen is, we have seen the default constructor. What does it do? Okay, we saw that how it initializes the instance variables. Then we created, or we declared our own constructor with parameters, and then we had a version where we actually had multiple constructor defined in our class. So I hope you have understood the concept of constructor. It is one of the most important concept and very fundamental one. If you like this video, do like, do share it, and if you have still not subscribed my channel, do subscribe it. I hope you are liking this journey of Java. In my next video I am going to take deep dive in inheritance, which is very fundamental for object oriented. Bye till then.